My guest this morning is Leticia Nicole Beatty. And it says, Leticia Nicole often says, quote, "I am just a girl from Detroit, Michigan, who had dreams of success," unquote. In 1992, she moved to North Carolina with $15, 4 outfits, and a dream. The thought of being what others said she would become gave her the perseverance to gain admittance to Livingstone College in Salisbury, North Carolina. Her passion for helping people led her to transfer to Winston Salem State University, where she graduated with a Bachelor of Science in nursing with honors. Leticia Nicole furthered her education by receiving a Master of Business Administration from the University of Phoenix in Phoenix, Arizona. She is currently obtaining a doctoral degree in entrepreneurship. The two combined degrees allowed her to become an executive director in the long-term care industry, thus accentuating her desire and passion for helping others. She credits her success to God, her mother, grandmother, and a loving family who instill strong morals, values, and work ethics. Leticia Nicole is a certified life coach, motivational speaker, nursing home administrator, best-selling author, nonprofit founder of PD Incorporated, independent business owner, and her own vitamin and herbal tea company, level 2 marketing director in a network marketing company, and the CEO founder of Leticia Enterprise LLC. Leticia Nicole established Speak Life Enterprises to serve women and girls who feel stuck in their lives because of fear, rejection, depression, mental illness, or post-traumatic syndrome. Known as the Transformation Evangelist, quote unquote, Leticia electrifies audiences throughout the world while delivering words of hope and encouragement. But most importantly, she is a child of the Almighty God and is on a mission to encourage and transform people out of dead situations with her speaking enterprises. Leticia has been on stages across the country inspiring audiences from all backgrounds. The term, quote, entrepreneur, unquote, doesn't begin to describe who she is. She is a giver. Her strong desire to empower, promote self-awareness, and self-esteem throughout the community led her to create a nonprofit organization, PD Incorporated. To exemplify her passion for giving, the vision God gave her to feed 1,000 people during the 2013 Thanksgiving season was exceeded above and beyond when 2,500 people were fed nationwide. Today, we have fed over 10,000 people and counting worldwide. Her public speaking platform, Leticia Nicole Speak Life, has allowed her to motivate others by simply speaking life into the dead areas that cause people to feel broken and angry. Leticia Nicole says, "My foundation is based on what the Word of God, and it has been my strength to move forward, continuing to speak life to as many people that will listen." That's the key there, that will listen. Leticia Nicole Beatty is a child of God, wife, mother, daughter, sister, friend, mentor, philanthropist, sought-after motivational speaker, author, and always a work in progress. Leticia has earned countless awards for being a humanitarian and mentor, but her greatest accomplishments are her husband, Antonio Beatty, of nearly 21 years, and their 2 wonderful children, Antonio 2 and Aiden Cole. Welcome to the Reading Circle microphones, none other than Leticia Nicole. Leticia, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. Oh, my God. Who was that you were talking about? I got to take you with me. You made me sound real good this morning.
and you know what? I get that a lot from, like, whenever I read the bios, and I really enjoy reading the bios, and I always tell folks I read the whole thing because I want folks in the listening audience to say, if that can happen for Leticia, it can happen for me. And because I want folks to that's what the whole show is about, is about motivating and inspiring. The impetus of the show really was about to help people think about increasing their reading. So we expose them to books and to authors and to life coaches and everything. And I'm really I didn't realize, because this is the first time I read the whole thing through. I'm really going to look forward to our conversation, especially when you were talking about mental illness and depression and so forth and so on, because I'm dealing with a situation like that right now. So I'm going to be real interested to hear your thoughts on some of these things as we go through. But I tell you, folks, this is how Leticia and I met. Just like a couple of weeks ago, I had my guest on. Leticia's another one I met on Clubhouse. We were in the same Clubhouse room one night, and I put out my invitation to authors, of which, Leticia, we're doing an author call right now. If you know any other authors, I'm setting up my 2022 calendar. But I put out the invitation in the Clubhouse, and Leticia was one of the folks that says, yeah, I'd love to come on. And it was just a matter of setting the date. And we did, and here it is. It's here already. So welcome to the Reading Circle. And Leticia's down we were talking before we went out, she's down in Durham, North Carolina. And I was sharing with her that my mom is from that North Carolina area, in the Wilmington, North Carolina area. And my aunt right now is down in that Sunset Beach area. So North Carolina's in the house. So I tell you what, okay, so then all right, I'm looking here in the bio, because normally, matter of fact, we're going to work our way, because you have a book. You've written a book, correct?
I've written 7 books.
7 books, all right.
Yeah.
So we'll get to those in a minute, but I was curious. You said you moved to North Carolina with $15, 4 outfits and a dream. Let's go from $15 to where you are now.
All right. Praise God. I just want to let you know that I was over here praising God with you too, because even when I started telling you about my testimony, I was thinking about Philippians 4:19, and my God will supply all.
I know that's right.
According to His riches and glory. And so I think I was like 18 years old, and I actually was riding with my best friend, still one of my best friends to this day, Bridget, and her mom, to drop her off in Atlanta at Morris Brown. And her paperwork didn't go through, so we was traveling through Salisbury, North Carolina, to Livingstone College, because they accepted her. And we were best friends all through high school. And as I was leaving, Mark, we started crying. You know how little girls do. Just a mess.
I have 4 of them, so yes, I do know.
Just crying and acting a fool over there on the campus. I didn't want to go. She didn't want me to go. She didn't know nobody. And her mama like, oh, my God. So I took out my little plastic diploma from Oak Park High School, and I went over to the chancellor, and I said, can I come to your school? He looked at me. He said, what? I said, can I come to your school? This is my diploma. I ain't know nothing else. I'm just a young girl, And he said, okay, well, let's get you set up. And let me tell you something, and I thank God for Bridget and her mom. They split her clothes up so I could have clothes and bedwear. And Livingstone College, by a lady of the name Deirdre Stewart, God rest her soul. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and that's the reason why I'm a member now.
Oh, you might so you also my sister then, because I'm an Alpha Phi Alpha brother.
Come on.
Oh, ski wee. Oh, first fam.
First family. All right. 06, 08, the rest was just too late. Okay.
I know that's right.
So she helped me write a letter to United Negro Fund, and they sent me funds to go to this private college that did not have, they didn't have nursing, and that's what I wanted to be. But that was a start. But the part that was also the testimony, you guys, I tested remedial in every class. All through high school, I had a hard time passing my grades. I had to have tutors. I mean, it was hard for me to read. I can read backwards, okay? And most people know that as to be dyslexic.
Correct.
Right? And I could start a test from the bottom up. It was really, really challenging. And I tested in all remedial classes. So none of the classes went towards my graduation, okay? And I was labeled. Let's just tell the truth and shame the devil. I was labeled. She's not gonna be nothing but a stripper. She ain't gonna be. All she can do is dance. That's all she can. And they were speaking death, but God was speaking life.
Go ahead.
And so I end up transferring from Livingstone College to Winston Salem State University as an in-state transfer. So now that money went down, right?
Absolutely.
The tuition went all the way down. Praise God. And I started in 96, with 94 at Winston Salem State University as a nursing student, and I graduated with honors, you guys, the one that they said that wouldn't amount to anything. The one that they said that couldn't do anything but dance and was going to be a stripper and all this other stuff that they put on me because I had young parents, and you know how they do. Nothing good can come out of Detroit, but that's the devil is a lie, right?
I know that's right.
Come on. And so I went on and then started, I got my master's in business administration. There go again. Beat the head in the enemy's throat and head because what? I read different. It takes me longer to understand. He tried to put all these things on me, and I said, I can do all things through Christ Jesus that gives me strength. All things. He didn't say some. He said all, right? And so now I've already finished all my classes, and I'm writing my dissertation for my doctoral degree. And so I'm thankful because I look back. I know this sounds cliche-ish, Mark. As I look back over my life, and I think things over, I can truly say
I've got a testimony. I've got a testimony. I know that's right. I might have to see if I can find that song and play it.
Yes, and these books that I wrote, God didn't allow. I tell my pastor all the time. She said, "Minister," I said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "Mama, I believe that God didn't allow me to go through everything that I've gone through to be anybody else and act like anything else."
Right.
I said, I believe that he wants me to write about, that's why I can talk about depression, oppression, and suppression. That's why I can talk about being molested and raped and talked about and healing toxic habits and unsilenced spaces of domestic violence. And little girl books say, I am beautiful, the words of powerful girls, and a 100-day devotional that says, speak life into your health, to your wealth, to your finance, and to your relationships. That's why I can go on and keep writing because he keep giving me breath and I'm living. As long as I have breath, I'm going to tell people the story and give God glory. Y'all better hear me.
Go ahead now.
I know. I'm going to stop because you got a preacher on here.
That's all right. I hang with preachers, and you're talking to a deacon, so that's all right.
Well, it's just good, Mark. He allowed me to go through so I can get through, so I can take other people through. They don't have to go through without a map. Now they have a detour to take them through. You don't have to go through the business route because I can take you straight through the interstate. It's so many things that God has shown me, and he showed me, if somebody ain't going through nothing, you don't want them trying to tell you how to do it.
Well, I know that's right. Now, see, that I have to agree with, because some things you go through, like the only way you can talk to anybody else is because you've experienced it. Now, I don't say we have to experience everything, but there are some things we go through. Now, there's some things I've gone through that I can talk to people who've gone there. Like if I'm talking to somebody and I haven't gone through it, they don't want to hear from me. But there are some things I can talk to people about. Oh yeah, I've been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, cap, and everything else. And speaking of mugs, I'm sitting here looking at. I'm gonna tell you now. I'm gonna order that I Am Love Speak Life mug. I'm gonna order that for me. See, now you're all at you see now you on my website.
So what I do, I help other businesses, speakers, entrepreneurs develop product. I do a talk called Intro to Product Development, whether it's digital or physical. I like physical products, and somehow it's easy for me to do. And I figured that must be the gift that God gave me. The gift giver giveth the gift, right? And so he gave me all these gifts that I'm not going to bury, and I'm going to multiply and bring back interest. Right, and that's one of them. Everything that you're seeing, the eyelashes, I know you ain't going to order none of those. But
I don't need those. But
the books, my magazine, Speak Life magazine, the tea, and that's another, last year I had COVID, and I have asthma. And it was on my mother's birthday, March 30th, that they diagnosed me, and her best friend died on her birthday from COVID in Detroit. And so here I am calling her and telling her I got COVID. I had went back to the nursing home to work for 7 days. I had called myself retiring and was off for 2 years. They called me back, Leticia, we need your help. I go back. I'm telling, oh, my God, I'm looking at all these people that I care about, and I'm, hi, everybody, walking around. And when I tell you, Mark, that over half of them people died, and I caught COVID, and we were all on the news. I was only there for 7 days. They called us, the Red Alert building, okay? I was there for 7 days as the administrator. I'm all over the news, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, in my basement. I was in my basement for 2.5 months. I had it real bad, but I wouldn't go to the hospital because everybody that I sent to the hospital died.
Right.
I'm just telling the truth. They died. And so I said, I'm not going, Lord. And so I sat in that basement. I took every herb, I was taking dandelion leaf. I was taking robiosum, green tea, black tea, all kind of teas, y'all. I'm gonna just tell you, pomegranate tea. If it was a tea, I was drinking it.
I know that's right.
Okay, and so what I end up doing, God gave me the formula to make that tea. Put all the teas that I was drinking and put it in one tea bag. And so I end up, and I'm a nurse by trade. I'm a registered nurse by trade. I called the nursing home. I put everybody on 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C because normally you just take 500. I boosted it up. I was also taking turmeric and ginger. You guys, to make a long story short, I end up formulating a 1,000 milligram vitamin C tab and a tab for ginger and turmeric so it all can be in one capsule because I was taking like 8 capsules. So I narrowed it down to 3, okay? And so now I have my own tea company, my herbal tea. It's a 14-day detox. That's also on the website. And I also have the vitamin C and the ginger with the turmeric because that helped me. Because what they don't say is, and I'm not going to say too much of it, is that, COVID left a residue in my lungs.
Right.
That needed to be
right.
detoxed. And it's not just in your lungs, it's in your liver, it's in your kidney, it's in your organs. That's why so many people went through renal failure, right? Because they didn't detox. And see, when COVID wasn't done with me, it lingered. And I'm like, what is going on? I still couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe through the mask because my lungs were still infected. So this product helped me, and it's helping others detox their body from bacteria. And it's just amazing. So,
and see, the fact that you just had that conversation is something that I am constantly sharing with folks all the time. There's still a whole lot of unanswered questions with COVID, with the vaccination and everything else. Now, I've been vaccinated, so I'm not one of those that's resisting the vaccination. However, I will say there's still a lot that we don't know. And I personally believe COVID has impacted a whole lot of areas, like you were talking about the different areas of the body. I also believe it can impact the brain as well. And yeah, it can. I believe, and I'm going to connect this to what we're talking about with the depression and the mental illness and everything. One of the things I love is the fact that you're saying speak life, because I'm running back very quickly to what you just described, in terms of the various labeling, in terms of your various experience with molestation and so forth and so on and so on. And yet you're still saying speak life, because these are dead situations that you're saying, they may be dead, but let us speak life to it. Talk a little bit about, because some people can navigate through this better than others. Some people just go off on the deep end. They snap. What's the difference between, those that kind of snap versus those that kind of are able, like you, to push on?
See, it all depends on what you believe. The Word of God says it's impossible to please me unless you believe, right? It's impossible to please God unless you believe. And so instead of what my mind has done, because it's definitely mindset.
Correct.
It's all mindset. And when you make a decision, see, I got tired of wondering, why can't I get out of bed? What's wrong with me? Why am I feeling like I want to kill myself? Why is it that I feel like nobody loves me and I'm here all by myself? But then the Word of God said, I'll never leave you nor forsake you and have you beg for bread. Somebody lying. And it ain't God. So when the enemy came in like a flood, I know y'all, I hear it. God lifted up a standard in me. So guess what? That's how I'm teaching people through Speak Life Transformational Institute how to use the principles in the Word of God to combat the enemy. how to be free, because, I deal with a lot of business owners too, because you can't, and I tell you all the time, you can't build a business on a broken foundation.
Correct.
And the foundation is you. You can't build nothing
Correct.
on a broken foundation, and not even a family.
Oh, now you're
can't
preaching.
Build. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
and
now
so
you're preaching. You can't.
The foundation, which is the temple together, the mind together. And if the enemy can get the mind, he can get the rest of the body.
Absolutely.
And so, my God. And so this is what I'm teaching. It's all mindset. So as a man think in his heart, which is the mind, so is he. You are whatever you think you are. So when the enemy comes in like a flood and he attacks your mind, and you repeat the words that he says in your mind, you just made it an action, my God. You just made it a command, and then it turns into an action. And so when you stop the thoughts, when you hear, you ain't good enough, you too fat, you too ugly, you too black, you too white, you too this, nobody like you. You say, you a lie. You a father of lies. My God said that I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath.
I know that's right.
I am not poor. I am well and not sick. See, people don't understand. It's whatever don't you accept what the enemy is trying to get you to do. The enemy tried to make me take my life in 2011. In 2011, my husband and I were separated. The boys were small. I was in this big house by myself. I ended up waking up like at 2. Matter of fact, I wouldn't sleep around 2:30-something, and I'm walking around with a 380 in my hand, and I'm talking to myself because I'm speaking the words that was in my head. Y'all better hear me.
I know, and I said that you went right where my next question is going to go in terms of those voices, because see, this is God divine in terms of the fact that I'm talking to you this morning, because what you the situation you just described is extremely similar, and the whole notion of that's why I'm fascinated with the fact that you've come through it, and then God turned things around. I just played suddenly before we came on the air about God can turn things around suddenly, but those voices in your head, and this is and I tell people all the first off, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but I honestly do believe depression and mental illness is satanic. I honestly do. I think it's satanic, and I think the enemy knows exactly who he wants to go after. He will go after children of God as well. And so those voices in the head telling you exactly what you were just saying. You ain't no good. You're not worthy of love. You shouldn't. I mean, how do you get and you're telling you were walking around the house really seriously thinking about killing yourself.
And had the laser on, had the nerve to have a laser on, walking around. Now, what I ain't telling you is that I got a cat that her name is Dora, and I still have her. She's 14 years old, and I forgot about Dora. Dora was jumping all over the walls, running all over the place. Mark, she was chasing a laser. And I couldn't even concentrate on killing myself because this fool was all over the place. I said, what is wrong with her? All I kept hearing was... I'm like, what? I couldn't even look. God used the cat to snap me out of it. Let me tell you, I put the safety back on. I played with Dora. I put the gun back in the shelf, and I said, I'm about to go to bed. I put my head on that pillow. I woke up the next morning, and I started looking in the mirror and speaking life to myself. I said, Leticia, you can get up. You can take a shower. You can do all things. I made it that simple. You're not ugly. Listen, you are lovable. I started talking to myself in the mirror, looking at myself and telling myself what God said I am. And I end up going to work that day, and that was the beginning of me speaking life. That's why my first book was a word of life and not being a victim, but being victorious. And so I know that was all God. If he can use a donkey, he can definitely use Dora. And so from then on, I understood about mind issues. And then I had worked in mental illness. I had been a mental illness nurse. I was working and I'm with all these people, and I'm like, okay, God, you didn't allow me to see this and go through this to not tell people how to get through. And so I'm just letting y'all know that there is help. There is hope. And I agree with you, Mark. It is demonic. My boys, they are 17, well, soon to be 18 and 20. And one thing I know about them, because they play football. Actually, when I leave from home, I'm going to Atlanta today and then to Alabama.
All right now.
Play football. But one thing God allowed me to see was that every time they get on that field and before the play is called, before they blow the whistle
Right.
when it starts, their helmet is on.
Right.
Not just on, but it's also strapped up.
That's
if you
correct.
put on the full armor of God, don't forget the helmet. Because when you take a hit, you're going to get your head knocked off.
That's exactly right. And
you don't have the
it is. Now, for those of you, if you've just joined us, my guest this morning is Leticia Nicole. She goes by the first name and the middle name, but it's Leticia Nicole Beatty. And I'm looking here on her website. She was talking about in terms of the products. I see a magazine cover page. I guess that is probably an ad or something. But I see a Speak Life 90-day planner, a Speak Life 90-day devotional. She just talked to you about the teas and the eyeglasses. I see the eyelashes, lip gloss, but I see the book, this is the reading circle. Healing Toxic Habits.
My Lord.
Oh. And then we have, is this a children's book, The I Am Beautiful?
Yes, I have it in a coloring book.
I see, I Am Beautiful tool coloring book.
And that's me.
And
that little girl is me.
And this is, like I said, I'm ordering that I Am Love Speak Life mug for me. And and so this is the thing, and I've shared this story on the air because it's, first off, the percentage of female authors that I've had on the show who have been traumatized as a child, either through molestation, rape, whatever, the percentage is very high. And in terms of self-esteem, many of the guests would share how their self-esteem was so bad. And I always share this story. I remember I was at my daughter's high school. This was years ago because she's 32 now. But years ago, I was at my daughter's high school. This beautiful young lady was performing on stage. And she had, really performed well. Like I said, pretty as I don't know what. And the principal came on and she says, whatever the child's name, so she doesn't mind me telling you this, she shared it, so forth and so on. She says, but you see how beautiful this young lady is? And we all in the audience, she says, you would not believe she had a self-esteem problem. I almost fell off my seat. Because the thinking is, because you're pretty, because you're beautiful, because you're cute, because you're shapely, because you're whatever, there's no way in the world they could be having self-esteem issues or depression issues or mental. And the truth of the matter is, I'm finding the trend is most of the time your people that I think are so attractive are the ones who are struggling the most.
Come on. And they label you. People are asking, why is that child acting like that? Talking about me. Why does she walk like that? Why does she talk like that? Well, not until later to realize that my babysitters, when I was younger, was molesting me, urinating on me, beating me. And whew.
See, and this is where I go back again, and I know the answer. It's a rhetorical question. How do you overcome that? Because for some people, those kind of thoughts stay in their mind, and those voices that we were just talking about just ruminates and just over and over, and to the point where, like you said, they wreck families, they wreck relationships, they wreck themselves. That's interesting. You said that no matter, in order to be an entrepreneur, the foundation has to be right. So all those things that we were just talking about getting wrecked because the foundation is not right, but the foundation got corrupted with the very things like you're describing. But yet I'm hearing that God brought you through.
Well, Mark, the thing is, when my marriage was being destroyed, I couldn't look at him. I had to look at me. And I kept saying, what's wrong with me? And instead of thinking about, my relationship, I had to look at what part was I playing in the destruction.
How did you come to that realization?
Because there's a common denominator. When you really, really, really look at patterns, you can call them generational.
Right.
I call them generational patterns.
I'm glad because I know you're saying patterns to be nice, but it could be generational curses. But go ahead.
It could be. And one thing I understood is that this was a pattern. Okay, it's a pattern, but I can only talk about my pattern, the things that I saw within myself. I can't heal. Look, I can't take aspirin for somebody else's headache and they heal. And so right. I had to look at Leticia Nicole Beatty. And so when I was saying what's wrong with me, I think not even that I think, God allowed me to see what was stored in the back of my head. That's the subconscious, right? And that was leading my conscious mind. I was always fighting and protecting myself. I was
That's
always
correct.
fighting the babysitters. I was always fighting those that molested me. I was always fighting the rejection and the pain, and it was with I wasn't trusting anybody. And here I am. I have this amazing husband, and it's like, what in the world? Yeah, he got his stuff, but what am I bringing to the table as well? That's messy. I was damaged.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk offline. I'll give you a call at some point when we're not on the air, but because I'm extremely familiar with what you're describing, because in many cases, the person what you just described, like in yourself, they project the negativity onto the partner.
On the other people, and that's what I deal with through a lot of folk, but because I've been there, I can see it, and I have grace for them. Because I started saying to myself, now, we also got to be careful when we get healed, delivered, and set free. Don't act like you ain't never been through it.
Right.
That's why I have grace for people. And because I would say out loud, why is it that those that have mental illness don't know that they have it?
Right.
Why are they putting craziness on Facebook? Why are they saying stuff? Well, when you're going through a crazy moment, you don't know you crazy.
That is correct. And I had this conversation last night. That you hit it. When you're doing these things and you're, for lack of a better term, crazy or out of it or not in your right mind, as we say in the Bible.
I'm talking about myself, y'all. I'm going to talk about me.
Right. You really don't. But that's a hard sell from people looking at it from the outside. Because people looking at it from the outside just think you're being mean, you're being nasty. No, they're not being mean. They're not in their right mind.
Right. And in their mind, they're protecting themselves.
It's a defense mechanism.
Right.
That's just right. Like you said, in your mind, right. In your mind, you were fighting the people that urinated on you. You were fighting the babysitters. You were fighting, and that's what be going on in folks' minds that we can't see.
Right. All they saying to themselves is, "You can't hurt me."
Right.
I'm not going to let you hurt me. You
right.
can't hurt, but not understanding that they're hurting themselves and the relationship and the marriage and the business and everything that comes. They're going to hurt because they're hurting. I know everybody has heard it before. Hurt people hurt people.
Correct.
But see, it's the truth, because when they're hurting, all they understand is pain. They understand that it's pain. So you don't see the pain. And this is how we know this is demonic. You don't see it. There's no medicine really that you can take. But I ain't telling you not to take your medicine.
Right.
Take your medicine.
That's right.
but I'm saying it's nothing that you can see. Okay, mental illness is truly an illness.
Yes.
But it's a dis-ease. Good God Almighty, y'all don't make me. It's a disease, a dis-ease, and whatever has made you dis-eased, and you allow it to keep making you dis-eased, will cause the disease. Illness. It's something that keeps going on and gets bigger and bigger. It starts with a thought. Let me help you.
Correct.
It starts with a thought. My thought was, what's wrong with me, and why did they do that to me? Why did they touch me? It got to be me. What's wrong with me? Why would another person urinate on a child? What's wrong with me? And then you start, it becomes internal, everything that you're thinking, right? And then you start displaying how you're feeling to other people, and they're not the ones that hurt you. And then you become a leader that's leading and bleeding. Oh, my God, who am I talking to?
You talk. I can tell you right now you're talking to me, because I know what I know what my experience. So there's no question you're talking to me, and I'm sure you're talking to some others in the listening audience as well that can affirm and agree with you. They may have experienced it themselves, but there's no question you are describing. You called it a pattern, but if you do the research on that, for people that are experiencing what you just described, that's exactly what's going on. It's pain. Even you might be 35, 45, 50 or whatever, but in your mind, you're still like at 10 or 12 or 3 or whatever you were at the babysitter. Like you said, you're literally putting up a defense mechanism to not be hurt again. You've been hurt so much that your mind has now put up a barrier to say nobody's going to hurt me again. And you start projecting it onto people who are not even trying to hurt you.
That's true. Now, I know I'm going to make somebody mad, but y'all, I'm talking to myself because I had to look at it for myself. It ain't for you. If you petty, you just be petty. But I looked at pettiness as pain. Mm-hmm. I said pettiness was another word for pain because we can turn it into a joke on somebody else. We can make it a laugh on somebody else, but really is we're not having the real conversations about how that reaction made us feel. Come on, somebody, I need you to hear me.
Oh, go ahead.
So we say something petty, and I could be petty. I got my hands up because I didn't feel pain, so I'm not just talking about you. So don't get mad at me. Don't email me. Don't you do that. And so, but pettiness. Before you say something that hurts somebody else, I need you to do a self-examination. I call it a piece of pie with Leticia Nicole. I need you to assess you, why you about to say what you about to say. I need you to plan to change your mindset and how you say things out of your mouth to hurt somebody else, and then implement everything that you saw in the assessment and the planning phase. And then not only implement, but then evaluate and then execute. And that's going to help you look at yourself before you speak. I need you to speak slowly. I need you to listen, but speak slowly, right? Because the first thing that's going to come out is what's in your heart.
Correct.
My God. Okay.
That's correct. As a matter of fact, since you're going down that road and you do have the book, Healing Toxic Habits, let's talk a little bit about what's inside of that book. You don't give the whole book away because I want folks to order it. But kind of give us a synopsis of what is Healing Toxic Habits about. My
God. You know what? And I'm actually, in a couple of months, Volume 2 is coming out because this is Volume 1. Now, Healing Toxic Habits is, my God, it's 11 authors. And we're exploring all the adversities that affect every person at some point in their life. Now, these are the toxic habits, you guys. Shame, fear.
Yep.
Guilt.
Yep.
Anger.
Yep. Now, the reason you hear me saying yep is because I was talking to my mom last night, and that same list that you just read off, and I have not read the book yet, is the same list that I gave her last night.
My Lord.
That same shame, guilt. Normally she listens to the show, but now she's 83, and I told her she'll catch it on the YouTube, on the archives. But if you were to talk to her, she would tell you that's exactly what he said last night. I said the same list. And are there more, or was that it?
Well, it's just those 4.
Oh, those are okay. Now that's
shame, fear, guilt, and anger.
I said those exact 4 words last night.
And even though these stories are different, the stories are raw. We share all the same common victories that prove that no matter what the situation or circumstances, whether it's past or present, or the enemies that threaten your advancement, change is always more than possible, and no one is alone in their experiences. And that's what I want you to know today, is that you are not alone in your experience. And you can be inspired and encouraged and have support that you can overcome whatever that is that's telling you that you're nothing.
I'm sitting here like blown away because now okay, is that's something that do you have? Is that on Amazon, or is it in downloadable form, or is it just order from your website?
It's on Amazon. It is on Amazon, but it's also on LeticiaNicole.com, and I always keep like about 50 to 100 copies on me as well, if you want a signed copy. And what you're going to learn to realize, and remember we talked about those signs and patterns and behaviors of toxic habits, but it's also how to seek spiritual guidance through prayer, faith and believing in the power of God's healing.
Now, like, and see again, you went right where I was going to, but let me go back. So, all right, let me ask this, and then I'll go into my next question. You just went down that road again. Is it in the e-format version also, or is it just
on
paper?
Amazon? Yes.
Oh, it is? Oh, well, I can tell you now. Just like I told you, I'm going to order the mug from your website. I will be downloading Healing Toxic Habits before the day is out.
My Lord.
It'll be on my Kindle before today is out. I will be downloading that. But you just said something about prayer. Let's talk a little bit about how important is, okay, clearly, and sometimes the person in their right mind may or may not know to pray for themselves. But what about intercessory prayer and other folks who are praying for that person?
Oh, yes. Oh, you down I just went to intercessory prayer last night. The Word of God says, pray without ceasing, right? And that means don't stop praying. Praying repeatedly and often. Staying steadfast by not giving up. The enemy is not going to stop. Listen, he wants your soul.
Correct.
He's not going to stop giving up. So the Word of God, we have to stay steadfast. Unmovable. Okay, calm down. Not giving up. We got to continue to pray, even if your prayer seems like it's not being answered.
Correct.
The first time. You have to communicate with God any time of day, because God never slumbers, no sleep. I want y'all to know. Whenever the enemy comes in like a flood in your mind, I need you to start praying. Even if you don't feel like it, it's not about what you feel like. Because we walk by. I know I sound like I'm just talking scripture, but it truly is. We walk by faith and not by sight. Not what we see, but what we know the word to be. That's why we have to believe. And when you start playing with doubt, you go into disbelief, and that's when the enemy got you.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Last week, we had a guest preacher. It was our pastor's 24th anniversary with our church. So we had a guest preacher, and his topic was believing beyond your reality.
My. Mm-hmm.
Like, in other words, we know what we see, but can you believe beyond it? Can you believe and he gets into it because he was coming up out of Habakkuk, and how, Habakkuk was really kind of, I'm with Habakkuk, like, God, are you there? What is going on? Why are you not listening to me? So he comes up out of there in terms of the whole thing, and where he's telling us believe beyond your current reality. And a lot of people, will say give up on somebody. I can't imagine. I'm listening to your story about the whole thing with college and being labeled. And by the way, when I'm not doing radio, I'm a school principal. So I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of dyslexia and the labeling. And I know what that does to kids. And especially when you start getting into African, and the particular school that I lead is a all male school, is all gender, single gender school, all male. And they put that in place because so many of our boys were getting classified so quickly. This labeling thing you were talking about.
Right.
And what that does to kids. Because see, this is when you get a mentally ill adult, you can rest assured something went on up the path in the childhood. Something went up, and it's just a matter of, like you said, over time it will just get worse. And for those on the outside looking in, it's real easy to say, oh, just give up on that person. Oh, they'll never be. Just like you said, there's no way in the world. Like you said, you had remedial classes. Yes, that's what, like remedial classes. That's exactly what happens. I had to take remedial math whenever I first started. And interestingly enough, you said that, and same here, my undergrad is in business administration. That's what my BA is in, was business administration. And you have an MBA now, and was one that took remedial classes. You do know business is one of the most math-intensive curriculums that we take. So now you talking about being in remedial math in the beginning of your college career and now getting an MBA.
My God. Now you know why the enemy's so mad at me. He's so mad at me. He is so mad at me. And that's what I say. My purpose here on earth was to destroy his assignment. And I'm not going to stop speaking life. I'm going to speak life. So I know I irritate folk. I know I say words over and over and over again. They're like, why does she repeat herself? Because faith comes by hearing. And and hearing it. Maybe you won't get it the first time, but I'm going to keep saying it because I know God has given me that assignment here. But it was something that you just said, and I don't want people to miss this thing. And it comes from Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And it talks about mental illness, y'all, because that's why we're not supposed to have no anxiety. I'm talking to those of you that struggle with anxiety disorders. You have anxiety attacks, okay? And I mean, I really feel like you're having a heart attack. I'm talking to you. I know who you're here, okay? But the word said, have no anxiety about anything. It didn't say about some things. It said about anything. He said, but in everything by prayer. You asked me about prayer. It said with prayer and supplication, meaning that you got to be thankful and let them know exactly what you want. Let your request be made known to God, and the peace of God, what passes all understanding, will keep your heart and your mind in Christ. So if you're still walking around and you feel anxious, you miss one of those one of those details that God said do. He said everything in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. Where is your thanksgiving? Where is the request? When you feel an anxiety come upon you and you don't do exactly what the word says and keep doing it, let me tell you, because the enemy can't. You confuse him when you start praising. Like, what are you praising for? They just told you that your pinky toe about to fall off. What you praising for?
That's right.
You got to confuse the enemy with that prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, so the peace of God can fall upon you in your mind, in your heart. So I'm saying all of this because it's somebody listening to us right now that's having anxiety issues. To where you won't even go outside. Your business is being affected. You scared of people. Go to God in prayer and get your joy back, that thanksgiving. And so you can have peace in your heart and in your mind. And that's how you know that the word is working. It only works when you work the word. Okay, Mark, go ahead. Because I'm just.
I just turned the mic off and let you go because it needs to be heard of what you're saying. And I'm so glad that I do record this and put this on YouTube, so folks who are not listening right now can always go back to it. Or those who are listening now, they want to listen to it again. Maybe they feel like they missed something and they want to hear it again. But again, this is divine intervention, because when I met you on Clubhouse, I had no idea this would be our conversation this morning, and I know the situation that I'm in different ways, different matters, dealing with different family members, because I have different family members who are struggling with one form of depression or another. And so just to have this conversation with you is affirming and confirming some things for me. And if any of them are listening, hopefully, because like I said, when you're looking at on the outside, looking in, that somebody who looks fine and they're not fine, it's a hard sell in terms of saying, no, they're not themselves. No, that wasn't done purposely. They were not themselves. And now you're coming right down the line. It's almost as if when I'm sitting here thinking God is not hearing my prayers, yes, he is, because he sent this interview this morning to confirm and affirm exactly what I've been saying. And I kid you not, those 4 things that you said with the toxic habits, I just said that list to my mom last night. We were having the conversation and I listed those 4 things out. I had not had your book yet, had not seen it, but I was sharing with her, these are the things that come along with it. And those 4 things that you named are the exact 4 things that I shared with her last night. So again, and the fact that, you have the I Am Beautiful book. I have a picture that hangs in my office and I'll have to text it to you on Monday whenever I get it, but I've had it for years. And it's 2 little girls, and one of them is telling the other one, I'm pretty too. And that picture has been with me. Like, I've been through multiple offices. I've been from corporate America into education, and everywhere I've gone, I've taken that picture with me because it always touches me that the little girl has like the little sad look on her face and she's telling the bigger girl, but I'm pretty too. People just do not realize the impact that we have. I tell, as I'm talking to parents all the time, I said, and I've had multiple life experiences also. I said, we as adults don't realize how our actions impact children. So when you're talking about babysitters doing what they were doing and so forth and so on and other hurtful words that was it, that's why people come up the pike And for some, they fare better than others, and others, they just lose it. But and the hope and what I'm hearing from you is even for those who've lost it, they can still get life back.
Yes, they can, Mark. Yes, they can. Now, since we're on I Am Beautiful, one thing I can say, and I thank God for my mom, Nora Pitt. She's right there in Detroit, Michigan. When I was a little girl, I guess she couldn't understand. You know, I wasn't communicating effectively. But when she would tell me that I was pretty, I'll say, "No, I'm not." And I would look. You just pretty much gave an example of an illustration that's in that children's book. The little girl is in it. Her name is Joy. Leticia means joy. Okay, the little girl is named Joy. She's me, and I found beauty in all the other little girls, and I didn't feel like I looked like none of the other little girls, whether they had blonde hair, blue eye, red hair, whether they were darker complexion, lighter complexion. I did not see beauty in myself. And so my mother would always say, "Nisha, you're so pretty." "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." And I'm telling you, it's not that your children thinking that they're just ugly. It's some ugly things that happened to them that made them feel ugly.
Correct.
They can't see what you're seeing because you don't understand what they've gone through.
Correct.
At school, you don't know what the teacher done said, or the little kids done said, or the babysitters, or family members, or you don't know if you know they had another child in front. And I didn't like this even when I was younger. When they say, "Look at that little black pretty child," but wait. We all black. What do you mean? Like,
right.
Why would you cross up? You know, and so then you give people issues with their complexion.
Right.
And so it's like, or somebody had longer hair, or they were skinny, or they were fat. And so that's why I love that black is beautiful, period.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, so this book will help little girls create their own affirmations, and it'll spark conversations with their parents about self-love and positive talk and self-acceptance, and it's going to encourage them to admire all the unique features about themselves that's within them and on the outside. So that book, I got a lot of adults talking about, "Girl, your book helped me. I was reading her and she helped me."
Well, that one of the beauties of children's books is 9 times out of 10, they do help the adults. They may be written for a children audience, but the message will work for an adult as well. And like I said, Monday, and if I could find it, I might be able to find it online somewhere. But if not, I will certainly take a picture of that particular picture that has been with me in every office that I go and I hang, because when I look at it, it touches me in terms of somebody would have to now like feel that way. Because see, I first off, I hate to see anybody suffer. I mean, one of the hardest, you heard me say earlier about me being a deacon, but one of the hardest tasks for me is visiting those in the hospital. Because I just hate going and seeing people that I love suffering. And this is the crazy thing, Leticia. Most of the time when I do go, they make me feel better than I made them feel. They sitting in the hospital bed hooked up to all these tanks and wires, this, that, and they make me feel better than I made them feel. By the time I leave out of there, I'm encouraged. But I just hate seeing people suffer. And there are folks suffering out here physically. There are folks suffering out here mentally. And this pandemic has not helped things. You were talking earlier about folks dying and you catching it yourself. The pandemic has not helped things at all. If anything, has exacerbated things. But again, that's a part of, like I said, Satan is busy. Satan is on his job. The question is, are we on ours? And there's no question God is on his. But Satan is on his, and I mean, when you start talking families being torn apart, when you start talking, I mean, all kinds of craziness that's going on now, is Satan has ramped his game up, and we got to ramp ours up. That's why I love this speak life thing, because we do have the power of life and death in the tongue.
Yes.
It is definitely there. So I tell you what, we have, this is one of those I know is going to run a little bit longer if you have the time, unless you have to scoot. But for the listening audience, if you've just joined us, my guest this morning is Leticia Nicole, and she is a minister, by the way. So if you hear her sounding like a preacher, it's because she is. And I'm all right with that, because if there's anything we need to hear more now is the word, because I just said Satan is on his game. The question is, are we on ours? And all these things are real. This has been my clarion cry for the last few months, folks. Mental illness is real. Make no mistake. Mental illness is real, and it is just like you said. It is an illness. It is a dis-ease, and you could be sitting right next to somebody that you have no clue is mentally ill.
That's true.
I saw a post the other day, and it had the picture of it was Robin Williams. And what the quote said was, for someone with depression, they're not faking being depressed. They're faking being okay.
Right. And what was he, a comedian?
Right.
Making everybody laugh while he was dying inside. That was the disguise.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what it said, and I posted it on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But that's what he said. For those that are suffering from depression, they're not faking that. What they're faking is being okay.
Right.
Kind of what my mom called putting on. So they're putting on, and you're dealing with people that you would not know of if that's what's going on. And so that's why I have a whole bunch of folks that said, look, you don't know what folks are going through. Just be kind.
Just be kind. You don't know. And this is for those that are going through. And God gave me this word a couple of years, when I was younger. He said, I can see through your Fashion Fair, your Maybelline, and your MAC.
Go ahead.
On the smile.
Go
Get
ahead.
happy, get joy for real. See, what women got and now makeup is real popular now. We are throwing them eyelashes and them lip gloss, and we paint on a smile. And then underneath all that makeup is a sad face. It's almost like the Joker,
Exactly. It's interesting that you said that, because one of my favorite songs by Smokey Robinson is "Tears of a Clown."
Yeah.
And you're right in terms of like the Joker. You're absolutely right. So I like I said, I can tell you unequivocally as we sit here and chat, I am going to order that I Am Loved Speak Life mug, and I'm going to download Healing Toxic Habits before the day is out. As a matter of fact, I may even order I Am Beautiful. I may even order that as well, even though I know I have an all-boys school. I'm sure the message, because see, this is the thing. In my particular school, we deal a lot with self-esteem issues. Don't you let anybody tell you any less. You were talking about the color thing. Don't you let anyone tell you any less because you're African American or Hispanic or because your ethnic background or whatever. We do a lot of work in that area, talking about that, learning about our ancestors, learning about our history, connecting it to why they need to learn what they're learning and why they need to be the best and so forth. And many of my boys have been abused also. Because a lot of times we think the abuse thing is only about girls. No, there are boys that are being abused also.
That's right. You're right. And what I wanted to tell you is that even though I have a book and it's pink, but what they say, real men wear pink too. But
I know that's right.
And I know it's a 90-day devotional, but it's a 100-day devotional. And I want you to give me a number between 1 to 100. 1 to 100. Give me a number between 1 to 100, Mark.
Well, I'm going to choose my favorite number, which is 17, because it's my birthday, but 17.
Okay, so day 17. Okay, my God. So, and this is to let you know that this can be for the boys, too. So this is day 17. It's 2 Corinthians 10, 3 through 5. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not weapons of the world, but on the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that set itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought, oh my God, to make it obedient to Christ. And then there's a reflection mark. It says, when the enemy comes in like a flood, you're going to have to lift up a standard. For example, you're being attacked by your family, your friends, your foes. Opposition is coming from every direction. Don't fight back in the natural. You're going to have to pray and keep your mouth shut. Don't give ammunition to the fire. Keep calm and let the Lord fight your battles. Your blessing is on the way, and the devil sees your victory coming. He's trying to stop you and keep you from it.
I know that's right.
Keep your eyes on God. And then there's a goal, and then this is it. The goal is, do you have a go-to to resort when the enemy comes launching an attack? Is there a particular song that you like to sing, a dance, a prayer, or otherwise anything that makes you happy? How does it work for you? If you don't have one, explore such avenues that bring you joy and refresh the love of God in your heart. And then there's a place where you can journal. So, yes, this is for boys and girls because it's the Word of God, it's the reflection and a goal that makes them do something against the thoughts that keep them in bondage.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to be getting a box from you in terms of I'm going to go on your site today and I'm going to be getting a box of stuff from you. So I just added that to what I'm going to order. So right now I think I'm going to order the devotional. I'm going to order the I Am Beautiful. I'm downloading the Toxic Habits. I'm going to order the mug. So you're going to be getting an order from me, before the day is out. And again, I was saying this earlier because every morning whenever I start the show off, I read, and maybe once I get your devotional, maybe I'll switch over. There's one book that's been the mainstay. It's Iyanla Vanzant's Until Today. And I always switch the second book off because the second book that I'm reading from is Words of Wisdom and Faith from Reverend Run. So on Saturday mornings at 6 o'clock, I start the show off reading, just like you just did, from two books. And it sets the tone for the rest of the morning. But we have to take in, and I said this morning, we have to take positivity into our spirits. We have to take the scriptures in. We have to take these positive words in, because that's what will help combat some of this negativity that's going on in the mind of telling you you're nothing, of telling you you're not pretty, of telling you you're not smart, of telling you you're not. You kind of come back at it with stuff like you just read. Now you're battling back. And it's interesting that I just heard you say something about keep your mouth shut, because I just said that last night too. I'm not one of those. I've never really been one of those just going to tell all my business all the time. So whatever I'm dealing with situations, I'm not going out telling everybody.
Right.
It's like, no, I'm not, folks start fishing and nosing around trying to find out. And then I'm just playing like going on business as usual. I'm fine. Everything good. It is what it is. All is well. Whatever. But that's exactly right, because you never know when the tables are going to turn or change, and now folks will be like, but you said so
that part,
so it's best, like, I'm not going to just kind of let God do his thing. And so that's but I have truly, and this has been, I'm going to go through it, I'm only because she has like 37, whenever you go to the website and you go in there, it's like 30, is that 37 pages? It says it's 37 products. It says 1 to 12 of 37 results. That's what it is. So she has 37 products on there, and it's like 4 or 5 pages. Let me see. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 pages as you scroll through. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to turn the microphone off and allow Leticia to promote all of her products. Leticia, you can say anything other than the dollar amount. You can't tell how much the price of each thing is, but you can talk about them if you want to, how folks can order them, their websites, how they can get in contact you, if you're doing speaking dates or about your business, whatever it is that you want to share in the next few minutes. When I turn the mic off, I'm going to give you the opportunity to promote. The only other thing that came to mind as we were talking was that verse in the Bible where the Father says, help my unbelief. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I said, okay, well, now, what do you mean help my unbelief? But one time it got broken down to me in a way that finally made me understand. Not that he didn't believe. What he was saying was increase my belief. So when he was saying help my unbelief, it's not that I don't believe, but just help my belief stronger. Help me to believe even stronger. So that's where this whole thing, like we're talking depression, mental illness, overcoming, speaking life, all of that is the increasing of your faith and the increasing of your belief. Because like I said, you've just talking to you this morning, you've helped me because I'm wavering back and forth. And whenever, I talk to you offline, some of the stuff that I'm saying will make a little bit more sense to you. But exactly know of what you speak and experience. There's a lot of similarities there, and so you just never know. But what you did do was you've helped my unbelief. You've helped strengthen that in terms of all things truly are possible. I was playing that song whenever you came on. Is anything too hard for the Lord? And the answer truly is no.
No.
And like I said, like my pastor says, I mean, well, if your problem ain't bigger than a dead Jesus.
Come on.
And so I don't think it's too, if any, that's any bigger than a dead Jesus. So, and Jesus rose, this we know. He rose from the dead. So, and I looked at the Bible of so many different revivals of things that were dead. Like I said, Jairus's daughter, Lazarus. Whenever he got there, and that was his friend. That's all. I mean, I think the more you learn in the Bible, for me, in some respects, they almost. First off, I always, and I've said this before on the air as well, I always think Jesus was cool. I'm like, I just thought he was cool. Just but the fact that he can just kind of like with that whole Lazarus story, Mary and Martha got all upset. But why didn't you come when we call you? Like he told the disciples, I'll get there when I get there. I'm paraphrasing.
Calm down, I got this.
Right, exactly. But then that was his friend. Even he wept. That's that shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept.
Yeah.
And then he gets there and he just says, "Lazarus, come forth."
Come forth.
And they're very clear. And again, I always quote my pastor because as we talk and everything. But he always says there's a reason he didn't just say, for the dead to rise. Because had he not called Lazarus specifically, that entire cemetery would have got up. Ooh. So he called Lazarus by name. Lazarus, rise, what have you. So, and I'm going to tie this to another conversation I was having earlier in the year with my mom, because I talk to my mom a lot about praying for people specifically by name. Not just a general prayer, not just a please bless my this, bless my, pray for them by name. And that's the same way Jesus did when he went in there and he's Lazarus, get up. Because he could have just said, okay, all the dead rise.
Right.
But so that's why I love the theme, the Speak Life. I can't wait to get the mug because I have like a collection of mugs and that's going to join my collection. And because I love the message on it. Speak life. It is so much negativity and so many people speaking death.
Yes, yeah.
That, it has to be countered with the speaking of life. We have to tell children that they are beautiful, that they are handsome. As a matter of fact, in my school, because we call the Young Men's Leadership Academy, and I call my boys princes. They're a prince. We tell them they're a prince. They're in the making of becoming a king. So if I don't call them a prince, I'll call them a scholar. Our mascot is a lion, so I'll either call him a lion, a prince, or a scholar, or I'll call them gentlemen. For many of my boys, they've never heard anyone address them positively. All they've heard is, you ain't no good like your daddy. You a S-head. You a this. You a that. You ain't no, you just like that old daddy of yours. And some words way worse. I've had parents in my office that kid got suspended for cursing, cursed the kid out in my office. Like, man, do you understand that's what they got suspended for? I say all that to say, we have children who are not hearing anything affirming about them. And in my school, they've heard their principal say that he loves them. And I've told them, if you've never heard any adult ever say they love you before, I'm letting you know as your principal, I love you. And so that's the kind of dialogue and commentary we have, because it's that constant building of stuff, because I am very aware of how children have been torn down. And so even listening to your story, and I'm very cognitive and appreciative of how somebody could wind up snapping based on their childhood experiences.
Right.
So, all right, with all that being said, I'm going to turn the mic off and give you an opportunity to promote your businesses and all your products. Like I said, you can say anything other than the dollar amount.
All right. Thank you.
All right. You can go.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me here. This has been such an honor, just to talk about the Lord and to have this conversation about my testimony. And the products that I do have are all help products. I have books, I Am Beautiful for little girls. The Words are Powerful Girls. I have 2 books, their series, Our Stories, His Glory, Finding Your Deliverance. I have Unsilent, Faces of Domestic Violence. It's a survival book, and it's going to help you see the signs and the patterns of those that are abused and how to help them. I also have a book called Speak Life, which is a 100-day devotional that is going to help you speak life into every area of your life and to develop a consistent devotional habit, okay? And that Healing Toxic Habits, that's one that's going to help you see you and others, but look at you first and see, do you have some toxic habits and how to overcome them. I also have a magazine called Speak Life Magazine, and those of you that are business owners that would like to know how to get your stories or your products or be a cover, you can go to LeticiaNicole.com as well. I also have a school called Speak Life Transformational School, and it's a mindset school, mindset management, where you can learn how to manage your thoughts and become the better you. I speak, oh my God, I think my first speaking engagement in 2022 is in Detroit in February the 14th, and I'm speaking in Punta Cana in January. All those dates are going to be on my website. I feed, for those of you that heard him say I have a nonprofit organization, November 12th, I feed the elderly, and different leaders come with me, or they give. You can give. We have adopted over 300 elderly people here in Durham as well, but over 6,000 families a year are being fed just with your help, okay? You can do that on my website as well. But I want to leave this one thing. Oh, I forgot about my planner. Praise God. It's the 90-day Abundant Living Planner, all right? It's amazing. But also, if you're a business owner or a coach, or you're listening to me and you want to develop your own product, I also teach you how to do that, okay? You can contact me as well for that. But this is the word I want to leave. Because I thank God for the products, the eyelashes, the lip gloss, and everything. But the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. And we shouldn't just be hearers of his word, but doers, because we only deceive ourselves when we do. Okay? I want to tell you this. Continue to love with the love of the Lord and forgive like you want to be forgiven. I'm going to say that one more time. Love with the love of the Lord and forgive like you want to be forgiven. So when you wake up every morning, it's a new day, new grace, new mercy, not just for you, but for everybody around you. My name is Leticia Nicole, and I speak life so that we all may have life more abundantly. And that's LeticiaNicole.com. LeticiaNicole.com, LaticiaNicole. I'm Leticia Nicole on Facebook, Leticia Nicole Speak Life on Instagram, Leticia Speaks on Twitter, and Leticia Nicole Beatty on, what is that called? LinkedIn. All right? God bless you, and back to you, Mark.
So are all of those, your social media sites, are they all displayed on your website? Like, in other words, if you go there, you can go to the other ones?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and now say that quote again, because I'm going to put that on Facebook and I'm going to quote you on it. Say that quote you just said about the love and forgive.
Absolutely. And you know what? He gave me that quote at a funeral in 2013, my God. And I didn't even know the man of God that was preaching at that funeral. Do you know he looked right at me and said, "Woman, can you come give a word?" I said, "Jesus, I got to." I stood up and what God, I had to give him what God gave me. That's maybe that's what the Lord was saying. And I was at this funeral with all these people, and I got up there and I said, the Lord is saying, and I know what we are here to celebrate the life, but the Lord is saying, love with the love of the Lord.
Love with, because I'm writing it down. I love with the love of the Lord. Love
and forgive like you want to be forgiven.
And forgive
like you want to be forgiven.
Like you want to be forgiven. I will put that on my Facebook page, and I'm going to cite you, the quote, and put your name under it. That'll be up before the day is out, too. Woo. Love with the love of the Lord and forgive like you want to be forgiven.
Yes, sir.
Love it. It will be on there. Well, Leticia, like I said, this interview is another one that was God. So there are times I'm kind of like Habakkuk and a couple of the others in the Bible that I honestly doing all this praying, and I'm wondering, God, are you hearing me? And then something like this will come along that lets me know, or either like a sermon I heard last Sunday, that yes, God is indeed hearing me, and he's speaking through folks like you. This interview was him speaking to me through you. And whoever else is listening or who will listen on the YouTube channel, this is God speaking to you. So take exactly what Leticia said. And like I said, I will be getting a box delivered from me in the next few weeks from you, because I'm going to be going online shopping today.
Okay.
And those of you, again, it is LeticiaNicole.com, LeticiaNicole. It's just like it says, Leticia Nicole. LeticiaNicole.com. That's her website. If you go there are different tabs that you can visit. One of them is called Shop, and I'm going to be on that Shop tab a little bit later this afternoon. Because this is what I believe. I try to, any of my guests, I truly believe we need to support each other. And again, in terms of, you reap what you sow, and, giving. I just read about that this morning from Reverend Run's book about giving. So I truly believe in supporting my guests as they come on the show. And I benefit as well, because I love that mug and the books I wind up using and everything else. So by all means, I will support you, and I encourage the listening audience as different guests come on and you go to their websites and whatever they offer is to support them, because that's what it's all about, is supporting each other.
Oh, Mark, I forgot this. And those of you that are on Clubhouse, for the last 8 years, it would be January the 9th will be my 8th birthday, or eighth birthday, that I've been praying every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and having Bible study at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We've been doing this for 8 years, going on in January. And guess what? Now we're on Clubhouse. And the club is called Speak Life Network.
Oh, all right.
Speak Life Network. You can join us. I can't wait to hear you and see you. And guess what? And if you're not on Clubhouse, you can dial in. Because I started off with a line at 919.
All right, and let's see. I got to go back to Clubhouse and see if I joined that already. I might have, but if not, I will. I'll say I got a lot to do when I go home today. I think I'm in there, but I'm not sure. I will definitely go on Clubhouse and I'll put in the search bar. You say Speak Life?
Speak Life. Speak Life.
All right, so for those of you on Clubhouse, go to Clubhouse and join that particular club on Clubhouse, Speak Life. If I'm not already in there, I will be in it again before the end of the day. It has been an absolute blessing speaking to you this morning, and it's my hope that the listening audience has found it to be a blessing as well, and insightful. Because like I said, whenever you're trying to explain mental illness to folks, it's a tough sell.
It is.
Folks think, they just being mean. Oh, they just being nasty. Oh, they think it's a lot of things, and not realizing, no, they're acting out based on experiences they've had. And like you said, it's defense mechanisms. They're protecting themselves. They've been hurt so many times. They don't want to be hurt again. It's a lot that's in there that beyond the naked eye. That's why they say God sees the heart. They say God sees the heart. And that's why I always tell folks, just pray for the heart to be touched, the mind, the body, so forth and so on. But it's a hard sell when you're trying to explain to somebody, they're dealing with something going on in the mind. And because folks can't see it, they're like, oh no, they just a bad person. And that does nothing but those four things that's why I was having a conversation last night about those four things that you listed off. If you're approaching a person that's suffering with that and you make them feel one of those four ways, you've made the problem worse.
That's true. But if you would just love with the love of the Lord.
Yes, that's why I love that quote. That's what
you will be spreading love and not hurt, because when you spread hurt on a person that's already going through a mental attack,
right?
That's like dripping acid.
Right. Absolutely right. So I will definitely be in touch with you. I'll definitely join the club room. I'll be ordering the products. But thank you so much. I have enjoyed this time. And like I said, I always tell people I don't even like using for something like this. I just don't like using the word enjoy, because it wasn't necessarily for I enjoy. I've been enlightened. I've been inspired. I've been motivated. So it wasn't just a matter of me sitting here having pleasure. But it really has been eye-opening and a learning experience, a confirming and affirming experience.
Yeah.
All right. So have a wonderfully blessed day. Tell all the folks in Durham, North Carolina, hello.
Absolutely. You too. And thank you for having me.
All right. Take care now.
You too.
All right. Well, that ends another episode of the Reading Circle with your host, Marc Medley.